Happy holidays and Happy New Year from our hearts to yours. We hope you're enjoying it with friends and family.
It's been an amazing year for us on Scout. Last January 1st, we were transiting the Panama Canal. 1,600 miles and 9 countries later, we find ourselves in Thailand.
We hope you'll enjoy this video, our best of 2024, sailing halfway around the world.
Best adventure, Vanuatu. There are incredible blue lagoons carved out of the jungle, just waiting to be explored. We tried our hand at horseback riding, which was great. But the single most extreme, most strenuous day we had all year was the Millennial Cave Tour. We slipped and slided up and down muddy jungle paths, climbed waterfalls, plunged into total darkness, and traversed rushing river.
Biggest seas, the Coral Sea. The waves never come across on camera. They just don't. But trust us when we say, we had big winds and huge waves for days coming across the Coral Sea on our way to Australia.
Got a wave so big that it came up and crashed on top of the hardtop.
But its height and elevation went over the top.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Before it hit us, it was over the hardtop.
Yep.
But then, like, we went up it and then back down.
We learned the lesson of flying too much sail the hard way. And were generally thrown around for days on end.
You're not really sailing unless you've blown out a nylon head sail, right? You're just flying it with too much wind. So you don't know where the limits are unless you push them. Tonight I found them. Best nightlife. Phi, Thailand. This one is a sneak peek that you'll see more of next week. The Scout crew doesn't go out at night often, but when we do, we prefer wild parties in Thailand. No, but it's a bit of a party scene I found myself in. I mean, just a little fire dancing in Thailand. Best experience, Shark Ball, South Pass Pakarava, Tuamotus. We had this one circled since before we started cruising. It did not disappoint. We'd swam with sharks elsewhere, but the sheer quantity combined with it being a drift dive where you always felt just on the edge of being out of control made it an experience we'll never forget.
Best destination we knew nothing about, Niue. It's a tiny little limestone rock in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific Ocean. For better or for worse, Niue doesn't have brand name recognition like Tahiti or Bora Bora. It's remote, hard to get to, and doesn't even have beaches. Heck, even cruising boats can only stop there when the weather's right. And even then, there's no place to land your dinghy. You have to hoist it onto a concrete pier. But what Niue does have, in abundance, is magic. The island is a limestone outcropping which is swept by big Pacific winds and huge waves. The limestone erodes to create beautiful chasms which feel like another world. Crystal clear waters that are all shades of turquoise and aqua and blue. Diving here is world class. And on top of it all, it has great food and beautiful sights.
Scariest moment, shipwreck, French Polynesia. Shipwrecks happen somewhere else to someone else, until they don't. The above and below water conditions were not extreme, but one thing led to another, and all of a sudden, the boat was on the reef. It really hit home to the whole scout crew that things can go wrong in a hurry out here. I don't often give advice, but I'm compelled to here. Do not abandon the vessel until you are absolutely certain conditions are safer off the boat than they are on the boat. There are too many stories of boats being found adrift with no crew and no life raft. While this shipwreck was no doubt terrifying, the crew's physical safety wasn't in danger until they left the ship and got onto the reef.
Oh my God. Oh, he needs to get out from there.
Fortunately, we were able to get them safely into dinghies.
I mean, if you just look at how big those waves are that are crashing on the boat.
Best wildlife encounter. Being surrounded by pilot whales in the Arafura Sea.
Look at that! It's a dolphin experience with pilot whales.
Holy cow!
That was a magical experience we aren't soon to forget. Most beautiful Anchorage goes to Fatahiva, Marquesas, French Polynesia. This is a tough one. We have been to a lot of beautiful anchorages, but nothing can beat arriving in the mountainous gorge of the Anchorage in Fatahiva after 31 days of consecutive sailing. It blew our minds, stole our hearts, and is definitely our favorite Anchorage to date.
Biggest boat problem, the starter. A problem which announces itself with an engine fire is off to a pretty good start. And then another one fried itself. Then I had to buy more in Singapore and get some professional help identifying the root issue. And even though it worked for a while, as you're watching this, the starter is back to not working. Given the miles we've traveled this year, we've been fortunate, but the starter issue has been annoying. Best underwater visibility, Beverage Reef. Beverage Reef could have won a number of categories. It's an atoll all by itself which barely breaks the surface of the water at low tide. The water quality is pristine. Honestly, it's hard to imagine water being any clearer. Best village, Somo Somu, Fiji. There are warm welcomes. Then there's what we experienced in Somo Somo. We were hardly the first cruisers to visit, but they made us feel that way. There were so many kids, each seemingly with a huge smile.
Tomorrow. Have fun tonight.
Best meal. Tongan feast. Va'u. We've been fortunate to partake in a number of meals with the locals. It's always a neat experience, no matter if the food isn't always gourmet.
How long have you been turning it?
3 hours.
3 hours? Just you?
Okay. What the family in Vava'u was able to produce over fire in a simple kitchen was just amazing. Everything was delicious and authentically Tongan. How was it?
So good. Oh my gosh. Absolutely fabulous. Delicious. Yummy.
Anything else?
I want more. Best coral. Namina Marine Reserve in Fiji. It's remote, the water visibility is incredible, and it has an amazing diversity of hard and soft corals and colors that you just can't imagine. The coral is thriving, and there are a number of different dive spots and snorkeling sites. In 20,000 miles of cruising, Namina Marine Reserve is hard to beat. Best beach. That's a tough one. We've been to a lot of beautiful beaches. Number 1 on our list though? Vanuatu in the Marquesas, French Polynesia.
Best friends.
The crew from McGeester joined Scout at the end of the year. They were friends from the Caribbean last year. What ended up happening was less of a traditional crew or even friend situation, but rather a big family of 8 sailing through Indonesia, Singapore, and Thailand. There were lots of adventures, lots of laughs, a few tears, and lots of love.
Best random act of kindness. Fuel fill up. Indonesia. Try as we might, we don't always get the best cruising experiences on camera. I needed to do a jerry can fill up in Indonesia. I took 4 cans with me in the dinghy to a fuel station that was close to where I could park the dinghy. It turns out in Indonesia there are some fuel stations that only have state subsidized fuel, which I was not eligible to buy. The nearest fuel station I could buy fuel from was 5 kilometers inland. It's a long walk with 4 full jerry cans of fuel. I was sitting on the curb pondering my predicament when a stranger came up on a scooter. He offered to take me to the fuel station. We filled up the cans there. He took 2 back to the dinghy, came back and got me and the other 2 cans, and took me back to the dinghy, all out of the kindness of his heart. The whole thing took over half an hour and he expected nothing in return. So just one amazing example of the kindness we've received along our journey.
Cheers! Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
And hope you have lots of adventures in 2025.